So Jeff, I guess the first thing I want to ask you is, what has your experience been like in the minors? 10 years now. Obviously, you're a veteran at this point.
Right, veteran. It's been a process.
Yeah.
A long road, a lot of dead ends, turnarounds, U-turns, and but the things I've learned along the way are not only baseball experiences but life experiences. So it's been all positive.
Yeah, to do something like you're doing and playing the minors for so long, you really got to love baseball to do that too, right? I'm assuming.
Yeah, well, I'm chasing the dream of playing in major leagues,
Yeah.
and that's the drive behind the whole thing. And it's every day is a different day, and there's a thirst and a hunger for getting better and accomplishing things on a daily basis.
What do you enjoy about the game?
I mean, the defensive approach for me is one of the things that I take most pride in. Catching games, calling winners, we call it. Catching winners, calling good games. Managing that bullpen staff. Having guys come in at the right times, or allowing our team to be ahead for the right guys to come in and whatnot. And so the defensive side to me is most exciting.
Yeah, and you probably caught dozens, if not hundreds, of pitchers in your day. Is there a favorite one you look back at, or is there a couple guys that you like more than others?
Every year it's a trade-off, with who you like and who. And there's no dislikes or anything. You just there's challenges, there's weaknesses that need to be honed and worked on and strengthened, and those challenges are fun to face and go at them. So there's not one in particular pitcher that's more like than the other.
When you were a kid, anyone you idolized growing up, catching-wise?
Yeah. I like Benito Santiago. He signed with the Marlins, and the Marlins were new when I was a kid growing up, and so it was just like, all right, Marlins, their catcher, and Benito had been around already a long time, so he was fun to watch.
That's pretty cool. As you've gotten older, is there anyone you've been, you don't know if you could model your game after Benito, but there's someone you kind of model your game after?
Those power-hitting catchers, Buster Posey and Yadier, guys that are hitting in the middle of the lineup and playing, 7 days a week, those guys do things that I only wish I could. So I look after those guys.
Definitely fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how does that translate to hitting? Catching translates to hitting, because I feel like I never was a catcher, so I don't really know how it works. But you guys, you see the zone, you see every pitch that he makes. You know what I mean?
The zone is that's interesting, because sometimes we'll get a pitch on the inside corner, and I can come back in and tell my guys, hey, he's giving a little bit more on the inside to a right-handed batter. Just a heads up. So the zone definitely correlates with the catching side and the offensive side. Knowing that zone, knowing that he's not calling the pitch just down in the zone, it helps you, lock into a certain area a little bit better than having to widen the zone because he's calling the outside pitch. But to me, they're different entities. They're different types of things, because you're standing up looking at the pitcher this way versus squatting down and facing him head on, squared off to him. So but every time I try and they're separate things when you're looking for pitches to hit, and versus looking for pitches to call to get the guy out.
Yeah.
So
that's an interesting perspective, because a lot of people think, why aren't some catchers better hitters? Just because they see every pitch that comes in and they know what it looks like more often. But it's a good perspective, because you're looking at it like this compared to like that.
Right, standing up looking at it like this versus squatting down and looking up. Because you're squatting down and he's already tall and on a mound, so you're looking at an angle versus more level line of sight when you're hitting. So the trajectory is different.
Right.
and that's why they're separate parts of the game for me.
It probably takes a special player, a special talent, a lot of work to be able to master both.
Well, the guys
calling a game at the same time, hit
the guys that do make money and they have championship rings on and things like that. Those are the special ones.
Not easy. Not easy at all. And thinking about that too, what's your relationship with umpires like?
It's got to be sound. I'm always working on that side of things. Working with them, it's like working with somebody inside your clubhouse, or you need things done. You need to get a certain pitch for a guy. You need to open up that side of the plate if you can. Sometimes they're stubborn and they won't. And if you're sometimes younger days in my career, I was more aggressive and got less out of what I was trying to accomplish when maturity's kind of come into my own, and you work with them a little bit differently now that that they're trying to have a career and make a living, and we're all back there together. They're taking foul balls off their arms and legs as well as we are, so we're all back there together. And when I look at that in that perspective, it allows me to be less aggressive and more just political, like, hey, try and work things.
Because you look at it, it's almost, as you mentioned, with the foul balls, it's almost like a brotherhood almost back there, but it's an interesting dynamic because you're trying to get a call, and there's some guys just won't give it to you.
Right. When they get a foul ball, either one of us get a foul ball in a rough spot, maybe on the meat of the leg or the arm, you need a second, you need a second to breathe a little bit to let that pain kind of wash away. So either one of us get a ball, the other one's walking out to the mound, walking out a new ball, giving that person, the catcher or the umpire, the time they need to recoup, and because the next pitch could be the defining pitch of the game, and you want both of us to be alert and aware and ready to react, basically.
Right. There's probably some that are easier to deal with others.
But same with catchers, like I said, I was more aggressive earlier in my career, but it didn't work, I was always butting heads, and then, now that I, matured, like I said, it's a different ball game, no pun intended.
Yeah, exactly. And taking all those hits, on a daily basis, whether it's catching the bullpen or catching a game, and, those foul tips off in the dirt, catching them, what makes that worth it?
Oh man, just going in the clubhouse, having a song on, we just won a game. That's what makes a lot of these things worth it, because it's the camaraderie inside the clubhouse, the smiles, the laughter, the jokes, the fun that goes, along with winning and success. So you take a ball off your arm, you're ready to take another ball off the arm, as long as that's the pitch to execute in the dirt. You should be taking it off the chest protector, but if he's fouling it off and you're getting hit with it, that there's the light at the end of the tunnel with a win.
Yeah. Is there a part of the body that's more painful than another?
Well, any foul tip off a 90-mile-an-hour fastball hurts. The collarbones seem to stick with me longer. I get a foul tip here, or a ball in the dirt that kicks a little higher. These areas they stay stiffer longer, but the arms and those things seem to just kind of go away with
like a bruise kind of thing.
Yeah.
It still doesn't feel good. It looks like. You hear, I've watched the broadcast off the mask. I've heard that doesn't hurt. It does hurt. What's that like?
I haven't had a problem with foul balls directly off the mask, not since college. One kid got me in college, a foul tip. It broke my skull mask. I had a hockey mask, and it broke the plastic. But I was protected. I didn't, no concussion or anything. Sometimes the mask presses against your face and might hit your lip or something, but those it's better to take one off the mask, in my opinion, than off the flesh.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool. I guess getting a little off the baseball field here. I mean, you've been in Syracuse for a couple of years now. What have you seen? I know it's touch and go because you're so busy.
Well, yeah,
it's
8 days here, 8 days on the road. Yeah. The weather the first month and a half kind of keeps me indoors. But when it warms up, there's a couple of streams I've been fishing in with friends. Nothing. We haven't caught anything great. I'm from Florida. I fish.
Yeah.
So, but it's a great place. It's cold.
Yeah.
In the beginning of the season, but there's nothing better than June to play. We're better to play in June because it's 75 and sunny.
Right.
Versus being the heat of the South.
As a Florida guy, that's got to be, even at any minor league park, any place you've played, it's got to be a little bit tougher to play in those cold temperatures, right?
Yeah, but I mean, when you're in the game, when you're in the lineup, your mind kind of, definitely it's resilient when it comes to the weather conditions, or it tries to be, And there's always a circumstance that may hinder you, but when you're in the lineup or you get put into the game, it's perform time, and I think that those elements, the weather, those things get pushed to the back and the back burner, and you just suck it up and play.
Yeah. Is there any time when you've seen guys that you've come up with, or guys that have gone through the system, where you kind of watch them play, you're like, well, they've got it,
Every year, every year an organization has a guy or two on a team that I've been with that has just this feel for the game, knows how to prepare, and knows how to compete when the lights come on. And they're special players. They're just the special ones. There's the lucky ones that work hard and get there and make it, make a career out of it. The ones that, just get opportunity, take advantage of it. And then there's the special ones. Bryce Harper. We got a guy, Steven Sousa. He's just gifted, and he knows how to play during the game. When the lights do come on. So.
And I guess looking at the team this year, you guys are now over 500 for the first time since last April, something like that. And you're playing pretty well. The lineup is pretty dynamic. Has a lot of good parts in there. What do you like about this team this year?
Well, our early in the lineup hitters are on base. It seems like, and then we have some power behind them, and then it just ties back into speed in that. in that middle to the late end of the lineup where there's more speed. So there's speed, surrounding the middle power, but there's also a little bit of power, punches in those early things. So you get to see a little bit of speed, base runners in certain situations, guys that are patient, drawing walks, and getting in scoring position for our guys to drive them in.
I remember last week I saw, Brian Goodwin was on first, Eschen Hood was at the plate. Hood hits a double, Goodwin scores all the way from first. It was pretty impressive. See, those two guys kind of work together.
And they both have power too.
Yeah.
They both have the chance to drive the ball out of the ballpark in the gap. So when the guy's on first base, he's in scoring position potentially for the next guy. So that's what we're talking about.
And then something you've been working close with the staff too. The pitching staff's been doing pretty well so far as well. And a couple guys stick out for you so far? What's gone into their success, I guess?
Well, we've had our starters have been pretty consistent. From game to game, we're getting 6 innings, give or take an inning here or there. Sometimes 7. We had a complete game shutout the other day, and those things help you preserve the bullpen and let those guys have success late in the game. We hate to stretch them out into more than 2 innings, because they're built to come in right now and keep the lead, and close the game, not get through a game when we don't, So our starters are really setting the pace.
Yeah, it helps when the offense is hitting well too, right?
Yeah, well, it takes some pressure off of us defensively.
Absolutely, and I guess for you, just looking forward, I know everyone's goal is the same at this point. You want to make it to the majors. What are you looking for in the next few weeks, months, years here? What is your goal for the future?
I want to grow with this level. The last 2 years I've had some spotty, inconsistent play, and I want to be more consistent. Behind the plate, I want to give our team a chance to win, on the defensive side, and then offensively, obviously, just to put more quality, consistent at-bats together instead of having like a 3-hit game and then 2 0 for games. I'd like to punch in a walk here and there, as well as a couple of hard-hit baseballs, an offensive move the runner situation, anything like that I can just stay consistent, and that way I'll have a better feel for the level and be able to command a little bit better.
Great. Thank you very much. Appreciate it
nice
speaking with
meeting
me.
you, Tom.